Welcome to the BlueBoard podcast series for Blue Lights project. In this episode, I'm joined by Gergely Hankó, Vice President of the Plastic Cup Initiative, and Bendegúz Bachrathy, Youth Volunteers Coordinator at Plastic Cup. We discussed the Tisza Plastic Cup, a community-driven cleanup along Hungary's Tisza River that tackles plastic pollution by turning collected waste into racing boats. Since 2013, the initiative has removed over 300 tons of waste, mobilized thousands of volunteers, expanded to multiple rivers, and gained EU recognition as a model for citizen-led environmental action. Hello, Bendegúz and Gary. Thank you for being here. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine, and thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, me too. I'm really good and I'm really excited to be here.
Are you both based in Budapest or some other city in Hungary right now?
I'm in Budapest, but I also live in a small village in Nagykörű, which is next to the river Tisza.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah, I'm just right next to Budapest at Budakeszi.
That's amazing. So, Gary, I want to start with you. Could you please perhaps provide us some brief overview of the water status of the Tisza River and what environmental challenges are we facing today?
Yeah, the Tisza River is situated right in Central Europe. It's basically the biggest tributary river of the Danube River. And I hope all the listeners know that Danube is the most international river in the world because 19 countries sharing its river basin. So Tisza is the biggest tributary. It originates from Ukraine, Transcarpathia, and through Romania, Slovakia, it enters Hungary, and it flows through Hungary and enters the Danube in Serbia. So we call it our blood love river Tisza because its color mostly looks like the blonde color. And Tisza has seen a lot of severe pollutions in the last decades. In 2000, the big cyanide catastrophe came from Romania, and then started the communal waste pollution in the early 2000 years. And in the last few years, every year we can point out an industrial pollution coming from a mine or an industrial site or something else. And next to that, we are dealing mostly with the waste issue. If the flood is coming, a lot of waste is entering Hungary from the upstream countries. So we are operating on the tributary rivers and the Tisza as well to stop the pollution, to upcycle the riverine waste, and do educational and infrastructural development in the upstream countries to prevent the pollution and to develop the sound waste management in these countries.
Well, now my question is for both of you. Bendegúz, if you like, you can start, and then Gary, you can take it on from there. Why did you decide to join the Tisza Plastic Cup initiative? And regarding you, Bendegúz, what are your main tasks there?
Well, basically, when I joined, I was 7 years old, so I didn't have a choice. My mother and my father went to the Plastic Cup, and they said that it should be like a great family event for us. So we joined, I think, in the fourth Plastic Cup, so it was really the beginning. And then when I grew up there, I decided to join as a volunteer. So currently I'm the coordinator of the youth volunteers. So under 18 volunteers can join, and I help them to do the volunteer work and the behind the scenes work in the Plastic Cup. And right now I can decide to leave, but I don't want to because it's a really great community. And my motivation there is that we can make something that is really working. So when we collect 10 tons from the river, I can see that it's impactful for the others and for the media as well. So yeah, my motivation is basically to make something that really works and makes an impact on the river.
That is amazing. What about you, Gary?
I joined the Plastic Cup around 10 years ago on the third Plastic Cup, so just 1 year earlier than Bendy. And basically that time I was working in the Hungarian environmental industry for a decade or something. And I was really shocked that Tisza has that serious, huge waste pollution issue here in Hungary. Because I have visited all the recycling plants, all the eco villages. So basically, I have seen everything in Hungary regarding sustainability at that time. But I didn't hear about the Tisza pollution. So, as one of our veterans usually say, that Tisza pollution is just happening at the end of our garden, and we are turning our back to it. So it was not a big communication around that. So when I saw it in the television, it was a documentary series from the Plastic Cup Society. I was shocked, and I immediately called one of the organizers that I have to step in. I have to work with them because I wanted to change this status quo.
Gary, the Plastic Cup uses teamwork and some sort of competition to motivate people, if I'm not mistaken. How does this format help strengthen community ties and environmental awareness, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's really complex, and the basic idea, it's based on the American Cup sailing competition. It's just not with expensive sailing boats. We are using boats made of trash collected in the floodplains and from the river. So it's really a trash boat race, to be honest. It's pretty interesting that a lot of volunteers, mayors, municipalities, big companies, NGOs, everybody is joining with their team. They have to build this boat, and they have to paddle on it. They have to live on it for a week. And basically, the challenge is who can collect the most of the waste. And you have to participate in different challenges. There are speeding sections, there are Tisza quizzes, and so many other things. So it's a really complex challenge. It's the mystery of the Plastic Cup. It's really famous. And next to it, basically, we are organizing activities every week now. So we have 3, 4, 5 big races, events every year. But next to it, every week the volunteers are operating on the field, in the forests, or in the River Saver Center. So it's really colorful, and it's good motivation to everybody to join in, to get closer to the rivers, basically try to be a better friend of the river.
And can everyone join? Like, can I come from Brussels with my team, and then can I race with other teams as well? Is it possible?
Absolutely. We have international teams every year. We had a professor from India, a marketing expert from England, university students from Serbia and Montenegro. So basically, everybody is joining because it's a real trash boat race with great adventure, and basically it's one of the most famous environmental activity or campaign in Central Eastern Europe.
That's now something definitely in my to-do list. Bendegúz, you said you're 18 years old. I wish I was 18 years old, but I'm a bit older now. What motivates young people like you, in your opinion, the most? Is it the environmental mission, the adventure, the teamwork, or being part of something innovative?
Well, I think it depends on the people, because I think right now it's really hard to catch the youth, because like it's a bit hard to like call someone from high schools to, oh, come to the Plastic Cup and make yourself dirty in the river. So it's a bit hard, but in my point of view, the Plastic Cup is more like a festival for young people. And like I grew up in the Plastic Cup, and I never felt that I had to work, or it's a job for me. I always felt like it's more like a community event with a lot of festival stuff, because in the Plastic Cup we have concerts, we have this boat race, and Gary said it. I think this is a motivation to make an impact on the river, be the friend of the river, get the trash out, but in the meantime you can have fun. And like I think all the 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, they're also looking for like some projects that they can be creative, like at their school or something. And I think it's also like a good motivation to like write a project involve the plastic cup, and you can make something with your creativity, but also join to a great community which works on collecting the trash from the river. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I really like the fact that the youth participation is so high in this initiative. Gary, how does the Tisza Plastic Cup integrate environmental and blue education into its activities before, during, or after the event?
Yeah, thanks for this question, because I think that's the most important part of the awareness raising and educational campaign, that basically a lot of expertise is working on it, and we are really different. Everybody is coming from different field of expertise. We have marketing experts, we have movie makers, we have teachers, researchers, and so on and on, environmentalists and sustainability professionals. So basically, we are putting together a nice program and an activity list. So the whole Plastic Cup is operating like a research institute and an environmental association, an educational NGO. So basically, we are visiting schools every week. We are welcoming business groups in the River Saver Center at Kisköre or Olasztiszka. So it's pretty amazing that we can get in touch with many companies and actors of the sustainability here in Hungary. And if we would like to measure the microplastics in the river, we have a very good laboratory for that. And the next time they called us that, okay, we measured the microplastic, but next time we would like to measure the PFAS. So they came to a plastic cup measuring PFAS, and after they are publicating the article about the results of the laboratory measurement. So we are collecting this information, and later on, thanks to our colleagues, we were able to turn it to river literacy. So in the framework of the ocean literacy, our colleagues basically write the river literacy principles, and thanks to the principles, we were able to edit the educational materials and hand guides and books for the schools. So now we have a complete River Saver school network here in Central Europe with 40 schools now. And hopefully in the next few years, more and more school can join. They have to implement the river literacy principles. They can adopt river sections, so they can maintain the cleanliness of the rivers, and they can visit the rivers many times during the year, and they can prepare group works and group measurements with the kids to see the quality of the water. So yeah, it's really complex. I don't want to go into too deep in the details, but I think that's the recipe of the success, that the whole Plastic Cup is really complex and try to reach out to every target groups.
That's really great that you mentioned the schools. I definitely want to get back to that. Bendegúz, I'm sure you have so many stories since you have been doing this for such a long time, but can you share one memorable story regarding one of the events that you would like to share?
Yes, well, I have a lot. So basically, my favorite activity in the Plastic Cup with the youth volunteers, because we had a youth group when I was like 14 or 13. I joined the Plastic Cup app, which is the youth volunteers, and all the time when we had to boat on the river, and we were on canoes, like different canoes, all the other youth participants, and we would like rope the canoes together, listen to music, and just float on the river. And then when we had work, we just went out, collected some trash, and went back to feel this vibe of the river. So like that's kind of my favorite experience. But also what I really like to do in the Plastic Cup is these exhibitions when we go to schools. And one time we went to Ukraine with our plastic laboratory, where we show kids how to recycle plastic like at home, because we can use like a plastic cup to melt it down with an iron and make metal. And it was really funny because that was my first experience working with kids. I was a kid as well, so it was kind of funny. But like the funniest part was in Ukraine, I think one of the teachers went somewhere, and we had a group of kids who didn't speak Hungarian or English, so we had to show how to recycle the plastic by our hands and our gestures and movements. It was really fun because they understood it, and I think it's like a universal language of the plastic.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. Well, that sounds so fun. And yeah, perhaps we will talk more about the memories. Gary, you mentioned about the schools, but what about the teachers? How are they involved in the Plastic Cup's educational programs?
Yeah, it's another good question. And thank God, the environmental education here in Hungary, it's on a high level. So most of the teachers are already motivated, and they are looking for new materials and new opportunities to teach complex things or new things to the kids. So basically, we have a long list of motivated, proactive teachers, and we have a very nice network of schools as well. So basically, for us, it's easy to reach out for the teachers. And furthermore, this year we stepped a level higher, and we invited international university students and later on international NGOs for a river saver training, river saver coordinator training. And it was a full 4-day training at the River Saver Center. And it's all about the river literacy, how to organize cleanup action, how to involve the stakeholders, how to collect the proper budget for the cleanup and the follow-up activities. So it was a really massive 4-day training. Basically, the university student training and the NGO training was full. So all the interest groups came from Ukraine, Romania, Serbia, Northern Macedonia, Albania, Bosnia. So we are really grateful that our activity is now a really international activity, and most of the countries and the river savers are interested to join in and learn the best practices from us and implement it into their country.
Although Hungary has no coastline, as you indicated, the Tisza and Danube connected to the Black Sea. How do you communicate this, let's say, river to sea connection to local citizens? And perhaps a follow-up question, Gary, for you. Why is it important for landlocked countries like Hungary to be part of the conversation about ocean and blue economy protection?
Now, as we know a long time ago, that basically rivers are transferring 80% of the waste into the seas and into the oceans. So the debris on the sea, when we are seeing a big debris island, it's not coming from the big ships or from the coastlines. 80% is coming from landlocked countries. So that's why we are operating and focusing on those regions where there is no waste management system. We have a few regions in Romania, and we have quite a big region in Transcarpathia, Ukraine. There is basically no waste management, waste collection in most than 180 settlements. So can you imagine that basically every year around 10,000 tons of waste is ending up in the nature, in the floodplain forests, in the river, or the inhabitants bury it or digging it. So it's a quite huge environmental issue, and that's why we are running several projects now in Transcarpathia, Ukraine, in these days as well, to develop the waste collection, to enhance the recycling, and yeah, we are organizing a lot of awareness raising and educational campaigns as well. But we are living in hard times now, so it's we are looking for every opportunity to communicate with our colleagues in Transcarpathia and to reach bigger numbers and to prevent this pollution. But it's really hard to measure it because the pollution is really closely attached to the floods. And because of the climate change, we haven't seen any floods more than 2 years now. A few years ago, it was quite normal that every year, 2 times, the flood is coming from the upstream countries, and now, more than 2.5 years ago, there is no flood. So the waste is piling up in the forests in the upstream countries, and when the flood will come, we will have a lot of busy weekends and working days to collect that waste.
We should definitely be talking more about this, because when we talk about blue education, I feel like people are tend to discuss about the coastal cities and the cities and the countries next to the ocean or seas more, but rather talking about the landlocked countries like Hungary. I'm sure that many listeners will learn more about Hungary's own environmental problem. Bendegúz, if you could give me one advice, not to me, but to other young people in other European regions who want to take, let's say, action for rivers and oceans, what would it be? If you could just give one piece of advice.
Well, I think the most important is to look for local actions and local campaigns and just join them. And I think if more people join the local actions and they don't try to join like in the main city of the country or like to big projects, if they join the smaller projects, smaller campaigns, they can make that bigger and they can make actions. So just join to local environmental projects.
Now, imagine me as your friend. We are having a cafe in your university or your high school or your maybe neighborhood, and you tell me about this initiative. And I'm not sure. How would you convince me? You have a couple of minutes, let's say. We are sitting, we are having a coffee, and I'm a bit confused about whether to join or not. What would you say to me?
Well, I would just show some photos of the activities we're doing because I think that tells a lot. And also, like, if I can say a bit more, well, usually if you join to the Plastic Cup, you can never leave. You can think that, oh, it's just trash collecting event, but as soon as you step on a trash boat, basically, you can never step out of the river and out of the Plastic Cup because it's really the community and the action that we are doing is really getting the people in, because we're not saying that you have to do this, you have to do that. We're saying that you can try to boat on a trash boat, you can try going in canoes, or you can try to work in the land. So it's really personal how you connect to the Plastic Cup. But I think they have to see how it works. They have to see some videos because it's really silly to look at the boats that are on the river, that we have like 10 boats in one time, all made out of trash and just floating on the river. So it's really funny to just look at that picture.
Now, my last question to both of you. Gary, maybe you can start, and Bendegúz, if you like to add anything, you can take it on from there. What are some of the biggest challenges in maintaining long-term engagement once the event is over? Because, okay, the Plastic Cup initiative, we go there, we have some fun, we do something good, but then what about the long term?
Yeah, you are a really good interviewer because it's another really good question. That's always a big challenge if we are talking about NGO activities or environmental campaigns. And the Plastic Cup this year was 13 years old, so it's quite a long time, and you have experienced a lot of issues and challenges. But thanks to the colorful team, we can establish the long term financial support for this campaign, because we know a lot of companies. We are working with the ministries, authorities, and water directorates, basically on a weekly basis. So this really colorful stakeholder network allows us to think on the long term, and it gives us a really good financial support as well, because as I mentioned, it's not just the Plastic Cup races. It's basically cleanup actions and waste separation, waste recycling, baling, maintaining machines, maintaining boats, building new infrastructure, doing research on new collection systems. So basically, it needs a lot of money. And thanks for the colleagues and for the volunteers, we are able to achieve the normal budget for the year. But that's the biggest challenge every year, and especially for NGOs in Hungary, I think in Central Eastern Europe as well.
Bendegúz, what about you? Would you like to add anything?
Well, I think Gary said everything, but yeah, it's really hard. Also for the exhibitions that we are doing to get all the materials that we need for the injector, basically to produce we produce with plastic cups. We make like recycled carabiners, rulers, and cups. So we always have to like work on the collection of the cups, and then we have to shred it. So it's a lot of work.
That was an amazing interview. Thank you very much, Gary and Bendegúz. Thank you for your time and being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us. And let's meet at the Plastic Cup next year. Hopefully you can join us.
Hopefully, yes. Yes, I would really love to join. That was my conversation with Gergely Hankó and Bendegúz Bachrathy, whose work with the Tisza Plastic Cup shows how collective, hands-on action can transform environmental challenges into real opportunities for change on our rivers and beyond.